So last night I took a little bit of time and got back into reading the Attack on Titan manga, Volume 2. I'm not through with it yet, but it's not because I wasn't enjoying it. Quite the contrary. This is the third or fourth time I've gone through this storyline. I've watched the first part of the anime twice, and this is the first time I'm reading the manga. So I've experienced this this arc several times. This opening arc of Attack on Titan so many times at this point. And each and every time it gets such like a reaction out of me, like such an intense emotional reaction out of me. I had to like come out and just say it. Like Attack on Titan, I think, has gone on to be like one of my favorite things ever. Everything about this opening segment, from like the setting to the characters to the themes, like all of it resonates so strongly with me. It's an amazing story. It is an amazing manga, and I believe it's going to go on to be one of my all-time favorites. We'll have to see how I feel about that, like going on. We'll see if the manga can continue to have this level of quality going forward. But the reason I'm making this video is that I came up with like this realization dawned on me while I was reading it. Is Volume 2 of Attack on Titan, very, very early on, right? We're still in the Battle of Trost, going through all these crazy segments, dealing with the aftermath of Eren being killed, of, Mikasa backstory, Mikasa's reaction to Eren's death. All of it, like, is so impactful, so well done, so beautifully drawn. It dawned on me while I was, like, going through this, like, reading this again. I enjoy Attack on Titan significantly more than Berserk. I like Berserk. Like, I don't have any real problems with like early Berserk or anything like that. I think it's all right. But like to say it's like one of the best things ever, I think is like very disingenuous, and it doesn't live up to its reputation. Whereas like Attack on Titan, I think, is better than a lot of people give it credit for. Because, like, when this thing first came out, I heard all these weird stories on Reddit about how, like, it's not, like, serious enough, how it's not, like, aimed at adults, and how it can't, like, compete with, like, other manga. Like, those manga were never named. Those manga were never specified. I would like to see what manga you've been reading that's better than Attack on Titan, but it was typical, like, knee-jerk fanboy reaction. Like, not willing to admit that this manga was as good as it was. Similar to, like, how Sony fanboys, like, constantly try to deride and attack Nintendo fans. Like, I do feel like this is the main thing. Like, the thing that, like, gets people's goat about Attack on Titan is that, like, it is an extremely dark, morally gray, ambitious manga aimed at younger people. And I think this is the thing that really gets a lot of people about it, because this is a story that is significantly more complex than stories that are aimed at adults. One of the other examples I came up with, I discovered, I think, Attack on Titan around the same time as Game of Thrones. Actually, I think I was reading Game of Thrones before this. Game of Thrones is hackneyed, it's lazy, it's repetitive, it's droning, it's boring. Like, the characters and story doesn't really progress after a certain point. It's not all that well done, right? Like, Game of Thrones is not good. A Song of Ice and Fire, the books, right? The things that J.R.R. Martin wrote. Let's forget the show, right? Because I think everyone agrees the show is shit. But the books themselves are not good. Like, Attack on Titan is better than that, right? Like, tackles stronger subjects, is more brutal, while being made for a younger audience. Like, for a lot of people, for a significant chunk of, like, people who consume media, they naively believe that because something is aimed at adults, that automatically makes it more mature, that makes it more, like, complex, it makes it more interesting, it makes it more like it makes it deeper, it makes it more complex, it has more meaning, like it has more value, essentially. Again, like we see with like Snoys versus Nintendo fans, like this complete dismissal of like products that are accessible and enjoyable and enjoyed by children because they're just because they're made for children. Like, it's a kind of like elitist attitude like I'm more grown up than you. It's like I'm older than you, so I can appreciate things in life better than you, which is of course an extremely naive, oh, not even naive, an ignorant way to view media, right? In like nothing Berserk has done for me so far, reading like 21 volumes of this shit, right, has really impacted me in some way that like Attack on Titan has over the years. Like there are significantly more characters that I care about in AOT. Like I care more about what's going on in Attack on Titan than I do in Berserk. Like I like the characters more. It's more relatable. Like the artwork, I would even argue, is better. Like, yeah, so much about Berserk is overhyped and doesn't measure up with this manga that I think a lot of people, a lot of elitist manga fans are just turning their nose up at just a short while ago when the anime first started becoming popular. It is like exhausting seeing these kind of attitudes regarding fiction and media. Of course, I've talked about this like with Nintendo. I've talked about it when it comes like how Lord of the Rings fans treat fans of other fantasy series. Harry Potter comes to mind. Like these people need to understand there's like more out there than like the stuff that's like socially acceptable to love and worship. You know what I mean? Like these people live in a bubble, right? Like they just do not venture outside of what, you know, Reddit recommends them. Like tells them they should like. They don't understand that like they don't understand there's more than what the news tells you, what the media tells you. Like they just blindly do whatever they're told. They are sheep. They are completely ignorant. So with Attack on Titan, like I believe it's concluded now, the manga. With it finished, I'm really curious like how this thing is going to go on to be received. I expect it's probably going to go down as one of the all-time great media franchises of the new tens, right? I think it's one of the most memorable, unique things I experienced in the last decade, and I will be recommending it to people. I will be showing it to people years after the fact. I think it tackles like very specific, very strong topics that like I don't think any other media. I don't think any other piece of media has ever dared touch, to be honest with you. I think it's very daring. I think it was very well executed. I am a big fan of Attack on Titan.